Hello, everyone. Welcome along to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster, as I look ahead to Saturday, the 22nd of July. Really good midsummer racing with high-class racing, really, and very competitive handicaps across the British and Irish meetings. Excuse me. I've got two selections for you, three selections for you for Saturday, looking at Newbury and actually over the jumps at the summer jumping at Market Rasen. If you're interested in taking a look at the selections I have for you for the Out in Front subscription service, then you can check out the link just below this screen. And there are four runners that I'm tipping on Saturday, and I think there'll be another two as well on Sunday if you're interested to get involved with us there. And if you're finding me for the first time here at Sportsbet, then please press the subscribe button just below this screen, and you'll be able to keep in touch with all my selections as they go along. Now, last week I was a little bit uncertain about my selections because of the ground changes, and it did have a completely different complexion. There was just the one runner, which didn't really do itself justice, so there wasn't too much to be lost there. But I am more confident this Saturday. I'm going to take you, first of all, to Newbury. And I'm going to take you on Saturday to Newbury to the 225 race, which is a 2-mile handicap, staying handicap. The advance going good to firm in places, and there are 15 runners. Now, this really is a very tough 2-mile handicap. There are a host of horses with genuine chances, and the early market, as of the time of this recording at 3:30 on Friday afternoon, sees Nathaniel Green right there amongst the market leaders for William Haggas. His horses in handicaps on Saturdays are always pretty short. The bookies are very frightened of William Haggas horses in handicaps, and this one's got the first time cheap pieces on, and he runs off the same mark as when a very good fourth last time out in the Northumberland Plate at Newcastle. Now, if the headgear brings about any more improvement, then he could really go very close indeed, and he's right up there towards the 4 in the overnight market. Now, 6th at Newcastle in the Northumberland Plate was Alan King's Rainbow Dreamer. Ran really well that day and is not without interest here at a much bigger price. He's having just his second start on turf in the last 2 years. He's been primarily campaigned on the all-weather, but it shouldn't be forgotten. And he really was decent on turf, and he's now running off a mark £8 lower than when running a good race in the Pitman's Derby last time out on the sand. Now, there's no doubt at all that the least exposed horse in this field is the Gosden Sweet William. This horse is absolutely bred in the purple. He's by See the Stars, and he's a half-brother to the Irish Derby winner, Hurricane Lane. Now, after finishing second on each of his first 3 starts in novice company, which much have been, really frustrating for connections, he did hit the target last time. He bolted up by 5 lengths, over 5 lengths actually, at Doncaster in first-time blinkers. He was actually valued for further because it was eased right down at the line. That was 1.5 miles, and he goes up 4 furlongs in trip, so his ability to stay has to be taken on trust. And this is his first time in a handicap, but clearly there's a lot of scope for improvement off this mark. And if he copes with the hustle and bustle of a very different race to the novice events he's contested so far, he could potentially be a different league. But the question mark is he going to stay and strongly run 2 miles? We'll find out, won't we, soon enough, by 2:30 probably on Saturday afternoon. Now, the Ascot Stakes at Royal Ascot is a race in which Novel Legend finished 7th, the Grand Vizier 8th, Solent Gateway was 9th, and Zinc White was 16th. And in different ways, they all ran well enough and are likely to appreciate the return to the shorter trip of 2 miles from 2.5. And of those 4, Novel Legend did best that day and probably won't be far away here. But I think Solent Gateway was far from disgrace, and on his previous winning form, he has a fair chance. Jolly Jim Goldie, well, he's got a couple of runners in this race, come all the way down from Scotland, and he loves to raid the British coffers or the English coffers and take the money back north of the border. He's got Jeremiah, or Jeremiah, depending on how you want to pronounce it, who won over 1.5 miles at Ayr last time out. And he does stay, and he's also got that quirky but highly talented veteran, Yukon Glen, and he continues to fall to a fairly low mark, while Pusteleo is no forlorn hope despite top weight for Roger Varian after another good effort at Royal Ascot last time over 1 mile and 6. But his stamina isn't yet proven, I don't think anyway, at this trip. And he shapes as though will stay, but you just can't be sure. So after all that, my selection, and that is Aztec Empire for Andrew Balding and Harry Davis. And this horse runs in the same ownership as the much shorter prize favourite Nathaniel Green. And I think that at a top prize 16 to 1 each way with Bet365, Paddy Power and Betfair at the time of this recording, he is no forlorn hope. Given that he finished 3/4 of a length in front of Nathaniel Green when third last time out in the Northumberland Plate. Now, the marked price differential may be explained by the fact that Aztec Empire has only raced twice before on turf and has been primarily campaigned on the all-weather. But that, I think, overlooks the fact that he was a good fourth in what's turned out to be a very, very useful Sandown maiden on turf on his racecourse debut. And then his only subsequent run came on really soft ground at Newbury in April, when he was clearly very unsuited by the conditions and was well beaten in the race won by Novel Legend. He actually now has a £10 pull with Novel Legend at the weights for that run. But of more significance, I think, is the ground. The ground is now going to suit Aztec Empire. And with Harry Davis, who's a really rising star of the jockeys' weighing room, he's claiming a further £3. I think he's got every chance he's going to go well for at least 4 places. So although the horse in the same ownership, Nathaniel Green, is a quarter of the price at 4 to 1 or thereabouts, Aztec Empire at 16 to 1, I think represents value. And as I'm always looking for each way value, he's the one that I commend to you for the 225 race at Newbury. And then moving straight on, and almost immediately after they've finished at Newbury, they'll be getting ready to go to post at Market Rasen for the 240. And this is one of the big summer jumps cards of the season, the 2 mile summer handicap hurdle. Lots of prize money, good ground, 14 runners. And it's one of the best prizes of the whole summer jump season in Britain over hurdles. And it's no surprise to see it attract a really strong field. Now, Brian Hughes is on the forecast favourite Belvedere Blast, who's trained by Adrian Keatley and is a horse that has really thrived this summer. He comes here on a 4-timer after wins, 3 of them, 2 of them over course and distance, and then last time out he won at Hexham, where you really have to stay. But he has gone up a total of £22, and this is a much tougher race than he's used to. So I believe he'll do very well to score again, having gone up £5 for that Hexham run. But you never know, he could be one of those horses that has just turned the corner and keeps beating them off. That's Belvedere Blast. A horse that's on a hat-trick is Charlie Longsdon's Everyone's Game, who's top weight and on whom Lily Pinchin claims a valuable £3. Now, his wins have come at Warwick and Worcester, and they were both over around 2.5 miles. So the drop back in trip is a slight concern, as to is the total of £12 rise for those wins, which is going to make life much tougher. But clearly he couldn't be in better form. Dan Seeler represents Fergal O'Brien, who's having a real crack at this race. Dan Seeler, progressive novice hurdle form to her name, and she made a winning start in handicaps when she scored cosily at Newton Abbot 6 weeks ago, and the £4 rise doesn't look severe. The big field, I think, will certainly prove a very different test for this 6-year-old. O'Brien is throwing plenty of darts at the target. He's also going to run Byzantine Empire, Gloria Zoff, and Castel Gandolfo. And then of the rest, well, Gavin's winning run came to an end at Perth last time, and Peter Bowen's charge will have to, I think, rather up his game if he's going to land another victory this term. But James Owen's Too Friendly failed by only a head to score at Carmel 3 weeks ago. And despite a £3 rise for that defeat, I think should still be in the mix. That's Too Friendly. But my selection here is an interesting runner. And as well as Belvedere Blast being on a 4-timer, there is another horse in the field looking to maintain a similar winning sequence, and that is the unexposed Myristica. Myristica is trained by David Pipe and is the mount of his now stable jockey, Jack Tudor. It's taken really well to hurdles as Myristica after an honourable career on the flat. It won 4 of 26 races for Tim Easterby on the flat, all at 1.25 miles, and then she changed hands in November for 28,000 guineas, joining David Pipe. He gave her a 6-month rest, and she ran very well first time out for the yard on the flat at Newbury in April on debut of her new connections off a mark of 84. And then she failed first time out over hurdles to make a winning debut by only a head, just beaten at Worcester, and that was having been carried across the track by one of her main rivals. That was in May. Well, since then, Maristica has been on a real upward curve, winning 3 times, rattling up the hat-trick over Timber in a 2-mile novice hurdle at Southwell, then another at Newton Abbot, and then one at Worcester. Now, this will be a first start in a handicap for the mare, and she's given a mark over Timber of 112. And given that she's rated in the mid-80s over hurdles on the flat, and that generally we look towards a £45 differential when it comes to handicapping over hurdles, you can see that potentially she could be as much as a stone well in here if that rule of thumb is to be used. So she could be on a really handy rating. And if she handles the different style of a decent handicap hurdle, I think she could go really close. Remember, it's not as if she is a novice in the sense of racing, because she's run 26 times on the flat and completed in plenty of hurly-burly flat handicaps. So she's a hardened professional. And at the current odds, generally is 6-1 each way for 4 places, I select Maristica to give us a really good run for our money. So that's the second of my selections here at Sportsbet this Saturday. Remember, there are 4 more selections over at Out in Front if you want to click the link and check out the options there. And there could be another couple there on Sunday, as well as going forward with midweek selections. And next week, of course, where we're going to have so much fun, I think, at the big King George meeting at Ascot, as well as other big meetings. But I'll also be back to you here at Sportsbet with my tips for next Saturday, absolutely free. So I hope you'll join me then. But for now, for me, Paul Alster at Sportsbet, have a great weekend. And I hope you back a winner or two along the way.